I am very pleased to announce that my book, The Problem of Induction, is available for purchase as an audiobook at audible.com. How can we know the future on the basis of the past? We cannot, so it is alleged, unless we have some assurance that the laws of nature currently operative will continue to remain operative. But we can have no such assurance unless we know that the future will resemble the past. This short treatise breaks this vicious cycle, showing why it is that our beliefs concerning the future are, at least in principle, capable of having a legitimate footing in our beliefs concerning the past. Please enjoy the following promotional excerpt from the audiobook itself, professionally narrated by A. Zenz, and available for purchase at audible.com.
Objects as causal series. Footnote 19. Objects, rocks, trees, stars, stable, dynamically unified event patterns are systems of interacting parts. The laws governing such systems would cease to exist at t. The same is true of the laws in terms of which the concept of an electron is to be understood. If the laws of physics were different, there would be no electron, since to be an electron is inter alia to be governed by certain laws. The same is therefore true of every one of the natural kinds in terms of which pre-T physics understands the world: proton, gravitational attraction, distance, solidity, etc. Objects are constituted by the forces that govern them. Those forces are instances of physical laws. Different laws, different forces. Different forces, different objects. What is true of objects is true of all cases of persistence and therefore of all instances of causation. Owing to the gnomic changes occurring at t, there would be no sense in which anything happening before t could be the cause of anything happening after t. Thus, if U1 is the universe before t, and U2 is the universe after t, no occupant of U1 would exist in U2. None of the laws that hold that object together would be operative. None of the laws on whose existence that of its parts depended would be operative after t. No event series that begin before t would remain in existence after t. The laws governing that event series would be gone. So would the laws governing its constituents. So would the laws in terms of which mass, velocity, temperature, conductivity, and every other relevant parameter. It isn't that the series in question would be severed. It's that it would no longer even make sense to suppose that it continued to exist after t. There would no longer exist physical laws relative to which the very existence of that series could be coherently affirmed. This means that U2 would not follow U1. For U2 to follow U1 would be for some pre-T event to cause some post-T event, which, as we have seen, is not possible. Thus, given that the laws of physics change at t, then there would be no space-time manifold of which both U1 and U2 were constituents, and the supposition that the laws of physics change at t is therefore tantamount to the supposition that the space-time manifold ceases to exist at t. This means that if there are physical laws, then until time comes to an end, our inductive practices have a legitimate basis. It also means that if there are physical laws, then inductive inferences that do not concern the future can have a legitimate basis. Many inductive inferences do not concern the future. They concern what is present or past, but is unknown. If I inductively infer that, at this exact time, some object is still solid, that inference doesn't concern the future. If I inductively infer that several thousand years ago, an asteroid hit a certain part of the Earth's surface, that inference obviously doesn't concern the future. So, provided that physical laws exist, many inductive inferences are unqualifiedly legitimate.